Hello everybody, my name is Pravus, and welcome to a brand new series of Europa Universalis IV, this time playing with the brand new Rights of Man expansion. We did just finish our campaign with the Mare Nostrum expansion, playing as Venice, then the Roman Empire, which was a blast, and I've had a lot of fun playing it, but I am looking forward to getting down to some new content. I'm not familiar with everything that's been released in this patch yet, but I have a pretty good idea of some of the major changes, and we'll go over those as we play. So let's hit single player. And I've already decided, and I've already told you guys in the last series, that I will be playing as an African nation this time, specifically Ethiopia. Now, why Ethiopia? Well, one, it's just enough outside of the Mediterranean that I think will be outside of the range of most institutions when they first get started, and it'll be interesting to see how a outsider nation is still able to compete technologically with, say, Europe. I think that'd be kind of cool. Also, Coptic. The Coptic religion got completely reworked in this expansion, and there are only 4 nations in the game that actually are Coptic. That's Kaffa, Alodia, Medri Bari, and Ethiopia. Ethiopia, of course, being the largest and the strongest of the bunch, and I happen to actually kind of like the Ethiopian ideas. Let's go over those real quick. To start us off, the starting ideas are reduced land attrition and reduced monthly autonomy change, which is actually pretty darn solid right from the beginning. You also have yearly prestige, chance of a new heir I don't really care about. Fort defense can actually be pretty decent, and there's some changes to forts that we'll go over eventually that actually make this better than it used to be. Diplomatic reputation goes up, always pretty nice. Increased missionaries from the Ark of the Covenant, also pretty cool. Expansionist policy reduces court creation costs, which you know I'm a big fan of. And of course, infantry combat ability. Very, very solid. These last couple here, woof, not bad at all. And then finally, the Ethiopian ambitions for having all ideas is increased yearly legitimacy. That one's a little bit kind of meh, but it can be good in certain situations. We will start off with a very, very good king, a 655. Not bad at all. I'm hoping that we can use this to get some pretty early aggression on my other Coptic neighbors, swallow all of them up, and then we'll start spreading across all of Africa. I'll talk about more of my goals in a minute. Let's go ahead and get started and see how things look. Of course, we will be playing on normal mode, not Iron Man, because, whenever you're playing on a new expansion, there's always the risk that something is going to get patched and you wreck one of your Iron Man mode games. I would hate for that to happen, so, of course, normal mode is the way we're going to go. No achievements for me. Okay, everybody, welcome to Ethiopia. Oh my gosh, we're starting in a totally different area of the map with a tiny little nation. I'm not used to this at all. It's going to be fun to start from the beginning. I like the early game. All right. So, let's go over a few things. First off, this is our flag. This is the Ethiopian flag with the Lion of Judah on it, which is pretty cool. Our treasury, manpower, sailors, stability, nothing seems to have really changed on the top here, except for this. View the Great Powers. Something new right from the beginning. Let's go ahead and click that. We can see that the great powers of the world currently are Ming, France, the Ottomans, the Timurids, Mamluks, England, Lithuania, Castile. I am not on the list. I believe that the score ultimately is calculated based off of development divided by your tech cost or something like that. So that's kind of how it gets there. We have nowhere near enough development to be considered on this list. There are certain perks for being a great power. I'm not especially sure what they are yet and how that works. If I can find, say, the Mamluks, for example, we hold over this. Ranked number 5 among great powers, yes, but what does that do? Not entirely sure yet. Is there anything about... I don't see it on here. I don't know yet. I have not seen any information as far as how the rank in the Great Powers changes things, but I know there are some nice perks. I'm sure we'll find that eventually when I inevitably do become a great power. We also see that court has changed here. This is our current ruler, Nagusa Nagas Zara Yacob Solomonid. Solomonid. Interesting. One thing that they did change in the game is that your characters, namely your kings, your heirs, and your consort or your spouse, can actually develop certain traits. So Nagusa, for example, is a zealot, which gives my nation Missionary Strength +1. We also are righteous, which increases my yearly legitimacy. It also gives you kind of an idea what would happen if an AI had these traits. So, for example, righteous means that they are more likely to start fair wars, because they don't want to pick on those less fortunate than them. A zealot, however, would desire neighboring heretic lands. They'd be less likely to ally a heretic. They're hostile to other religions, and so on. So if I was playing as a Dal, for example, who is a Sunni, I'd be a little bit worried about Ethiopia because I know that they're going to hate me for being of the wrong religion, and they are very likely to go to war. So that's something to take into account. Your heir can have the same thing. In this case, my heir sucks and is a naive enthusiast, which reduces relations over time rather substantially. This is an absolutely horrible heir. If I can find a way to get him killed in battle, I totally will. The same sort of thing can happen with your spouse. Exactly how your spouse factors in, I don't really know. I know that there is something about regency councils going to your consort. And maybe, just maybe, there are some event chains where your spouse decides that she doesn't want to give up the power when she's actually the regent. I don't know yet. We're going to find out. Still a lot of question marks. But that's a pretty cool feature. It actually reminds me a little bit of CK2. Your generals, by the way, can have some similar features. We do need to recruit a general, so let's go ahead and do that now. It's a terrible general. Let's go ahead and put my heir in charge. A little bit better on the shock value, not too bad. Your generals can have some traits as well. I don't think any of ours do at the moment. Let's see. Doesn't seem to indicate that they have any traits right now, but they can develop them over time. I do know that much. So that's pretty nice. Let's see, what else we got? All right, government. You still have your empire and so on. Apparently you can strengthen your government to increase your legitimacy. Exactly what that costs you, I'm not too sure yet, but we will find out eventually, I have no doubt. As far as cultures, that's been changed around a little bit as well. So right now we have Amhara as the Cushitic group culture, and this makes up most of my development. This is my primary culture. We also have some accepted cultures because they are in a cultural union. Now, as I expand, I'm going to get some non-accepted cultures, and I think that I can actually promote some of them. I think by spending monarch points, but we'll find out for sure later, to try and make them more accepted. How that's going to balance, not too sure yet. Again, a lot of this is very new to me, but I'm looking forward to finding out. We're an empire? How are we an empire? I have no idea how we are... Yeah, wow, interesting. I didn't know we were going to be an imperial government rank already. That kind of shocks me. Alright, as far as diplomacy, no real changes here. As far as economy, a couple little changes. Mostly the big deal is that you can debase your currency. It gives you money kind of like a loan would, but it also increases your corruption, which you would then have to pay to root out. I'm pretty sure the math will work out that it actually costs you more money than you would gain by debasing currency, unless, for example, you are ahead of time on your technology, which would be a natural corruption reduction. So, maybe you're willing to take this if you have so many things already factoring in that reduce your corruption. You might as well take a little bit of corruption to get some free money. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see how the balance of power works out later. Trade, no real changes. Technology has changed significantly, probably the biggest change in this expansion pack, and I don't really know all of the implications of it yet as far as how it changes my strategy, but I am fascinated by it. So now we have something called institutions. It used to be that you would be part of, let's say, the Western Tech Group, or the Eastern Tech Group, or the African Tech Group, and so on, and that would determine several of the different penalties that you would get. Then you would want to Westernize, and so on. That is now gone. Instead, we have institutions, which we can see that we currently start off with feudalism. Now, if I take a look at the, well, I can't see Europe and stuff right now, unfortunately, but I can get a good look at the institution map mode here, and we can see that we have fully embraced feudalism here. Everything's green. But some of these other people, like Hejaz, for example, hasn't entirely embraced feudalism yet. That gives you an extra leader without upkeep, but it also reduces your overall tech cost. Or at the very least, it doesn't increase your tech cost. So we want to adopt feudalism. I'm glad that we have. The Renaissance is going to be the next institution that will begin, I think, in... It doesn't seem to tell me... No, 1450. 1450 is when the Renaissance will begin. And we will not start with the Renaissance. It almost certainly is going to start somewhere in, like, northern Italy, and then it'll have to kind of work its way down to us, and it's going to take a long time before we adopt that institution. Until then, that is going to increase my overall technology cost, which I would be leveling up as normal using monarch points. And then there are other things like colonialism. The people who are the colonial powers will start the next institution. The printing press in 1550. I don't exactly know what causes it, but It's there. Manufactories. If you have not built any manufactories, then you have no chance of starting this next institution. So now there's actually a strategic reason to build manufactories now, and so on and so forth. This is going to determine a lot of the tech costs in the game. It's a really interesting change, and I'm not entirely sure how it's going to change my playstyle, but I think that will be kind of cool. I don't think there are any other really substantial changes right off the get-go, except for the Coptic faith, which I will go over in just a second. Estates are still here because we are a monarchy. Okay, not so bad. So as far as our religion, we are Coptic. Now, Coptic, like I said, has been reworked, just like the fetishists. Fetishists down in southern Africa basically look a lot more like Hindus now, but Coptics are completely different. It used to be they were kind of like the Orthodox, but now you are operating off of your holy sites. There are 5 holy sites for the Coptic faith in the world. I don't know if this will show it to us or not. Is this considered a... No, that's Jewish. I don't think it'll tell us up front. I think I just have to look here. Yeah. Well, we know that Axum is a holy site for the Coptic faith, and it is currently controlled by a Coptic nation. It doesn't have to be me, per se, but it has to be a Coptic nation. Just for owning that, all Coptic nations in the world will get a bonus. We can choose a blessing for our faith. Yearly legitimacy, manpower recovery, missionary strength, core creation cost, or discipline. All of these are freaking awesome, and I want to have them all. Oh yeah, actually it does show you right here, all the different patriarchal blessings from the different holy sites here. That's pretty cool. Now, like I said, any other Coptic can conquer those, and I will get the benefit. Odds are pretty good, since there are only 4 Coptic nations in the world. I'm going to have to do all the heavy lifting. But still, I think that's a pretty cool feature. So all 5 of these are really great. One of the goals of the series is going to be actually to control and convert all 5 of the holy sites, if we can. But that's going to require us going up toward the Middle East and Turkey and so on as well. So that's going to be a bit of a challenge for us, maybe a bit of a long-term goal, but it would be kind of fun to do. That's about it, though, as far as the Coptic faith, I think. I do see that we have a fair bit of religious disunity to start us off, and these are actually really quite bad. So, while I normally would want to go for the core creation cost or perhaps the discipline, I think I need to go for the missionary strength to start us off. 1.5% is actually pretty solid, so I will pick this as my blessing to try and get us religious unity a little bit faster. Now, that's a little bit better. It's not amazing, but it's a little bit better. Let's try to convert the Jewish faith, because they're just less likely to stack up some problems. Actually, you know what? Cancel that. Let's go for a Sunni to start us off. And that'll generate some unrest for Sunni zealots. Once we finish this, we'll switch over to Judaism, kind of let this tick down, and then resume, and so on and so forth. Okay, I've talked a lot about a lot of this stuff so far. Let's go ahead and jump into the normal way we play the game. As far as our missions, we want to improve prestige or go for Elodia, make them happy. Access to the sea through Masawa. Masawa? They want me to conquer this guy. What would be required? I have to own... Yes, I do have to own this territory, and in order to do that... Naval Force Summon modifier, Naval Maintenance modifier, Shipbuilding time. That's not half bad. Would it give me a claim? I don't know. Will it give me a claim? Yes, it does. Actually, it gives me a claim right off the bat. Well, I know you have no allies right now. I'd have to wait until the 11th of December, 1 more month. So maybe you'll get some allies before there's anything I can do about it. That would be kind of sad, but... who knows? Maybe I can declare an immediate war on you right off the bat. I like that. I cannot rival them, unfortunately, so that's no prestige for me. I definitely want to rival Adal, I think, because they are a heretic and we hate them. Who else could I want to rival? Let's see. I am rivaled by Yemen, Ajuran, which is down here, and Kaffa. Well, I'll rival Kaffa right back because I plan on killing them. They're small. That's some easy power projection to get. And I could rival Elodia, but they like me a fair bit. They could be a useful Coptic ally. I'm going to instead rival back Yemen, I think. It'll be a little while before I get down here, I think. I don't know. That's a good valid rival for later, I think. Well, who's the smallest, really? They're about the same. I'm going to rival Yemen. That seems pretty reasonable to me. Okay, not so bad. We do need to assign some traders. Let's go ahead and do that. We should already be collecting in Ethiopia. But it looks like nothing... Wow, really? Nothing runs through Ethiopia itself. Ouch. It all flows north? Ooh, I think that means it doesn't really matter if I steer any, trade toward me. I can't steer anything toward me. So wow, traders are completely worthless here. I can collect from trade and try to stop this 0.37 ducats from getting in, but my traders have no other practical use. Ooh. I didn't expect that one. Okay. Knowing that that is true, then one of the first things we're going to want to do is expand toward the Gulf of Aden, or Aden, so that we have another trade node that we will be able to pull some money from and collect. That's going to be really, really important for us, I think. Wow, I'm kind of shocked. All right, as far as our advisors, how much money are we making? None. We are making no money right now. That sucks. Do we want to get rid of some forts or hold on to them? This fort I will get rid of, or will I? It's protecting my capital right now. Maybe we won't. Let's wait until the end of this war first and just sort of see how things go. But I do want to talk a little bit about forts, because this is a really significant change that I don't think everyone's really caught on to yet. So one of the things that they've changed about forts is, let's suppose that an enemy force comes and starts sieging down, say, Enderta, right? Normally what would happen is, if I then go and attack them at this fort, they would have the defensive bonus, and as a result, building forts in mountains, for example, could actually be kind of dangerous, because it means that trying to stop a siege against you is going to be very costly, because they'll have the defensive bonus. Not necessarily anymore. I think that the way this works now is if you have higher maneuver than your opponent, and you attack at one of your besieged forts, you become the defender. You use the fort to actually become the defensive, to get the defensive ground, and now you get the benefits. So having this fort in the mountains before would have actually been very bad for me from a strategical point of view. Now, it actually could be kind of good, so long as I have better maneuver than my opponent. Now my opponent might actually come over here, and I could attack him and get the mountain bonus, and holy crap, I'm in a huge position of advantage. That's a big deal. That's like a game-changer thing that I don't think a lot of people have figured out yet. So, I don't know. I now actually put a lot higher value on fort defense to kind of keep them down, or make my opponent get tied up there longer, and I actually have a much higher value for maneuver as a result. That could be extremely useful for dealing with my opponents. But alright, let's go ahead, and I do not want an alliance with these guys. Let's go ahead and first off start building a spy network against, well, do we care about a spy network? Not really. Let's go ahead and start improving relations with, let's say, Alodia for a little while. Who else could I possibly want as an ally? Who hates Adal? Adal is hated by Yemen, who hates me, Warsangali, and Ethiopia. I might be able to make these guys into a temporary ally, so let's improve with them for a little while. Who else am I rival to? Kaffa, don't care. Yemen. Who hates Yemen? Oman and Hijaz. Both are fairly viable. I kind of suspect that Oman might be less likely to step on my toes a little bit later. So let's improve relations with Oman for a little bit. Heck, they're even, they're Ibadi. They're a heretic within the Sunni faith, so, the Muslim faith, so there's a good chance, I think, that maybe they'll be interested in attacking Yemen as well. Alright, the Holy Heart of Ethiopia. Once Aksum was the heart of the ancient Aksumite Empire, a bastion of Christian power situated at the crossroads of Africa, Arabia, and the Greco-Roman world. Among the obelisks and palace ruins, we have rebuilt the churches of this mighty nation of old. The greatest of them all is the Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion. It is the place where we crown our emperors, the descendants of Menelik I, who was the son of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. It is here he brought the Ark of the Covenant. Every year, thousands of pilgrims come from the farthest reaches of our empire and beyond to visit this holy place. Cool. 10 prestige from me right off the beginning. I like that. We have Humiliate Casus Belli against several different people. We still have not gotten any advisors. What would I want? Possibly some taxes could be good. Admin power is always a good thing. I do want military power quite badly. Because I'd like to get to Tech 4, so let's go ahead and grab the Discipline guy, and I'm not sure I can justify paying for another advisor yet. So we're not going to do that. Let's go ahead and move toward Aksum. They're in Highlands right now, but I do think this is going to be a very easy opponent to kill as long as they don't get any allies in the next few days. I'm going to go to speed 4. Okay, let's pull off Diplomat, so I'll be able to declare an immediate war against these guys, like so. Declare war. Conquest Massawa. And that's the only thing I have a claim against, unfortunately, so if I want to take any more, and I probably will, that will cost me Diplo power. But I think that's going to be fine because I would like to get as much land as in the early game as possible. Let's go ahead and confirm. And let's stomp on his army. I'm sending my son into battle, hoping he dies. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. It's worth a shot. Stack wipe. That was pretty darn quick. Let's go ahead and grab 2 troops. Like so. Send them out here. And send you over here. Like so. And that's the end of the war, basically. Now we just have to wait. Okay, cool. I know that I've done nothing but talking in this episode. That's always what happens when you start with a new expansion. I'm sorry if that bothers you, but unfortunately, I do have to call this video here. So thank you guys for watching. I do hope that you are excited for this series because I know that I sure as heck am. If so, then be sure to hit that like button. Of course, leave a comment letting me know what kind of things you have learned about EU4 Rights of Man so far that maybe I haven't covered, and make sure that I'm aware of them because it's quite possible I've missed it. And of course, subscribe if you want to see my future content. My name has been Pravus, and I will see you guys next time.